Konnichiwa. So this is a long-awaited tutorial for the one-arm handstand. Just part one. So I'm gonna mainly tell you more about what is a one-arm handstand. So basically, one-arm handstand is to be able to balance in handstand in your one arm. So simple as it's saying, it is probably 10 times as difficult as balancing on your two hands. So yeah, we're gonna start by telling you, so what is it? So basically, if you stand on your one leg, this is exactly the same thing, but standing on one arm. So basically, when you're standing on one leg, you're fixing your one leg like this. You're keeping it straight. You won't be like trying to balance like this, right? Or you won't try to balance like this. Instead, you're trying to keep it straight and then fix your feet onto the ground. Tense your legs. You don't have to tense it, but fix your leg on the ground. And after that, just lift your other leg up in the air. Always, this leg will be straight. And you won't try to bend it like this too much anyway. You can try to adjust with the bend, which might tend to happen when you're balancing on one arm, even though it's not ideal. So basically, try to keep your leg straight and keep it straight like this, vertical, and lift your leg up in the air like this. And it's exactly the same concept. When you're balancing on your one hand, one arm, you won't be balancing like this, nor are you balancing like this, but rather it's vertical. That's one thing I want you to remember. It's alignment. So this is what you call the base leg, and this is what you call the free leg. And when you're doing one arm handstand, this one is what you call the base arm, and this over here is a free arm. And you eventually learn the importance of both. Like, in order to balance on your one leg, of course, to have a strong base leg is very important, but at the same time, to also be able to use this leg to balance is also important. Likewise, even more important is your free arm when you're balancing on your one arm. Your supporting arm or the base arm is important to stay strong and core, but you'll realize later that it's probably as important, even more important, to use your free arm to balance. So yeah, that's the basic concept. It's basically just think it as if you're balancing on one leg, but instead of on your leg, you're balancing on your one arm. And the second thing is, so if you're gonna start working on one arm, make sure you have at least the intermediate, preferably the beginning of advanced level on your two arms, which is basically being able to hold 1 minute on your two hand, and not just being able to hold like this, but rather with a quite nice alignment. It doesn't have to be perfect, but quite nice alignment where you're pushing up in the air and your chest is not totally stuffed out and your core is pretty fixed. I will be putting enough tutorials on how to fix your core and being able to have a strong lower back as well as your abs. That's not, to be honest, having a strong core isn't necessary, even though it's useful to having a good handstand. And same as with one arm handstand, having a fixed strong core isn't necessary, but it's useful. So it's gonna be useful. And yeah, so one arm handstand. So as well as alignment, the important is having the strength enough in case if your body falls this way, being able to just use a little bit of your shoulders to adjust, or being able to use your fingers and being able to use your arm. So basically, throughout your whole body, as well as your lower half, you'll be using to balance your one arm. So yeah, this is up to where I wanted to teach you. I'm not going to teach you any exercises today, apart from, well, you can say, I can't say hand direction. It's mainly just forward, with your four fingers facing forward and your fingers facing this way, just like this. Of course, if you're using a block, it's going to be more like this, but I'm going to be mainly teaching you on the floor. And yet, where you're facing, you normally try to look towards, maybe I'd say between your thumb and your first index finger, so it's around here. And when you're pushing up, you try to put your ears as close as possible to your shoulders, etc, etc. But I said in this tutorial, I just want to mainly tell you guys that it's a very similar concept to standing on one leg, standing on one arm, and understanding that really helps you to remember that. Try to keep the direction between your hand and your shoulder as vertical as you can. I see some people try to wiggle around like this. It's just counter-effective. Rather, just keep it as straight as you can, vertical as you can, and all the control comes with your free arm. If you're falling this way, basically you put your free arm like this. And if you're falling this way, you kind of bring it like this. And even though ultimately, once you're fixed, you're basically just lifting like this, and you should be able to balance. So yeah, but then as I said, this is just kind of like tutorial. Part one is to just tell you that that's what one arm handstand is. It is similar to standing on one leg. A ballet teacher would tell you guys the importance of just being able to stand with your 2 feet together, with the soles and your shoulders, and like grounding yourself. That's exactly the same as handstand. And even with your one leg, one arm handstand for ballet dancers, it's important to just be able to have this one really still and rooted on the ground, and this one being able to just be free and control. But this one's always gonna be fixed. It's not gonna be wobbling around. Same as one arm. So it was a pretty long video, but that's the only thing I want you to remember, that compared to one leg. And hopefully from next lesson, I'm going to teach you guys more on alignment and being able to use your free arm to balance on your one arm handstand.